Hello, Nick here. Got a new radio. New to me anyway. Actually, I got like 4 of these things, different models. If you follow my channel and you watched any of my previous videos, you know I've been on like a mobile radio kick, and for older transistor models, mostly Grundig. So I've already done a couple videos on Grundigs, really nice, early 1970s, mid 1960s, that kind of stuff. And they were awesome radios. And I think I had been hinting that I had several coming in. Well, I bought 4 of these radios from a guy in Switzerland on eBay. And it took like three plus weeks to get here, but they did. They finally got here. And so instead of like just doing a video on all of them at the same time, and I want to do a video on each one. And 3 of them are Grundigs, and one of them is another model radio. And I'm not gonna spoil that now. You'll see it when I get to it. But so this one, so Grundig started the Satellit line. We'll do a little history because I got that Grundig book, so I might as well spout some knowledge since I read the dang book. They started the Satellit line in 1964 with the model, well, they call it a 205. The common American people call it a Satellit 5000. And that was made 2 years, 64 and 65. And I already did a couple of videos on it. And mine, I'm very lucky. I got a really nice radio, and it was actually the A model, A for amateur. So it's a 205A, which means it had built-in BFO for SSB, built-in manual gain control, and built-in noise limiter. So yeah, I was very lucky to get that, and it's in really, really nice working condition. And go back and watch the videos. But anyway, the next one in the line that replaced the Model 5000, I'm going to use the American terminology. I'll probably throw in some of the German terminology too. But so 205 was the first one. 208 was the second one, which meant 1967, 1968 production. The American term was Satellit 6000. I got one of those. So I'll do a video on that maybe tomorrow night or something, or the next night. And then the 6000 was replaced by the 6001, which at a glance looked identical. It just had a couple of changes. And a trained eye can tell them at a glance, but at a glance to a normal person, you'd never know the difference in the radios. One peculiar thing though is the Satellit 5000, which was the first one, the 205, according to that book I got, was not double conversion in any way, shape, or form. It was all, I guess you'd be single conversion if you're not double. Not that I even know what a conversion is, okay? Unless you're talking about, converting from a boy to a girl or some shit like that. But anyway, not that I know anything about that either. But anyway, a weak attempt at humor. So the Satellit 5000 was not double conversion, but all the subsequent ones, the 6000, 6001, then they went from 6001 to 1000, then to 2000, and then to 2100. Okay, so all those models, the spread band, the drum tuner that had the spread bands in them, were double conversion, but the shortwave up on this dial that's buried with the long wave and medium wave, that's all single conversion. I guess double conversion's better for making a hotter radio. Maybe it's more sensitive or selective or both, or who knows? Maybe neither. I don't know. I know that my 5000 works great. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at the dang video. Okay? videos. I think there's like 3 of them, maybe 4. And we dug deep on that thing. That was an awesome radio. And Grundig's whole idea of the band spread, and I'm not saying that they created it or invented the idea of a band spread, but they got it. And and in fact, yeah, I got a message from a viewer who watched my Sony CRF 160 video where I compared it to a Zenith Transoceanic D7000. And all these radios are transistor radios from the late 60s to the late 70s. So they fill in about a 10-year span. So they would have been competitors to each other if some consumer walked into an electronics store and said, I got money, I really like listening to shortwave. What are my options? Well, you could have got the Zenith Transoceanic would have been right up there. And this guy's panties got in a bunch because he said it was an unfair comparison comparing a single conversion Zenith to a double conversion Sony. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know what a conversion is, okay? I'm just the consumer, all right? Walking into the store, laying my money on the counter and picking the radio, all right? And you just turn them both on and see what they both do. That's it. All right. I am not a scientist. This is not a lab test. I don't have any equipment other than the dang radio and an antenna outside. All right. So fair test. That was not an intelligent statement. This is not a test. It's a comparison. And this particular one tonight is not even a comparison. This is just an overview. But anyway, so they went from the 5,000 to the 6,000 to the 6,001. Then they went to the 1,000, and then they went to the 2,000, and then 2,100. I just happen to have this one up on running on my desk, so I thought, and it's a beautiful, beautiful looking radio, okay, and it's working great. And let me tell you a quick story. Like like all my stories, I got sad parts in them. Spoiler alert, happy ending. But anyway, so the guy ships me 4 radios from Switzerland. 2 boxes, 2 radios in each box, packed very well. I can't complain about the packing coming how many miles is Switzerland from Dallas? Thousands. It made it 3 weeks on the road. Got here. Open them up. Pull this radio out. Plug it in. They all have power cords with power supplies with European Union power cords on them, and they're all set for 220 volts. Thankfully, these radios have a switch from Grundig on the back where you could flip it to 110 volts, and then I just bought an adapter to convert the plug. I bought an adapter on Amazon, converted the plug to a USA plug, and then you can plug them in. And that's what we're looking at right now. We're running on the power supply, the AC power supply. But anyway, so I plugged it in when I first got it. I want to check it over, look at it, check all the features. Checking it a lot. I do FM first, then I do medium wave, long wave, then I do these 2 shortwave bands. Then I go to the spread bands, which is, I call this the meat and potatoes, because that's the heart of the radio right there. And there's a dial on the side right here, the drum dial, all right? So you tune it. You can change your spread band, and there's 8 of them, I think. And you change it by flipping that. So I got in there, I turned it on, whatever band was up and in place, I just started listening to, and it sounded great. Active, everything. Then I went to turn the switch on the side, and it was seized. It went halfway, and all of a sudden, the numbers got crooked and cockeyed, and I had watched a few videos on these, and I knew that these plates, because it's a drum, and there's plates on it that represent these spread bands, and they pop off. And now, I'd never been inside of one of these radios, so I didn't know how securely they're supposed to be in place. Well, anyway, even though it was packed very well, 6 of the 8 drums were loose. 1 was completely off. 5 were loose. 2 were on. And the thing was locked up. I couldn't move it. So, oh shit. I got horseshoes up my ass. I'm like, not again. Not another bad radio from eBay. So I turn it off, unhook the power. I go watch a couple YouTube videos. They were mildly helpful. The guys really didn't see. What I need help with is how do you take it apart and get the chassis out of the case so I can get to what I need to get to. All right, I'm not a technician. God forbid this thing needed to be soldered on or new caps or something like that. There's no way. This thing would have went right in a garbage can. So I'm playing with it. Now, mechanical stuff, I'm a decent wrench, okay? I can kind of figure that stuff out. So I'm playing with it, and I pull I'm looking at it from the back. So everything, imagine the drum, when you rotate it, this one goes in up and up and eventually gets to the back. You're looking at it upside down, okay, when you're looking at it from the back. So I pull the one off that's accessible. The one that's in the front when you're in the back is technically in the back when you're looking at the front, right? But anyway, I pulled that off and I could see inside the drum, and I could see the one that was all the way up to the front was just kind of dangling and making noise and rattling around in there. And that's what was holding the whole works up. Seasoned. I couldn't turn it. So I'm sweating. Man, I'm sweating. Like, what the fuck? So I start playing with it and just trying to figure shit out. I started taking the ones I could get off, and I'm taking them off and finding out how they come off and go back on. All right. And they just pop off and go back on. You got to start them at an angle and you just pop them in place. There's actual fingers in a slot and it goes like that and it snaps down. Anyway, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll leave the one off that's at the surface level, and I'll go in with a screwdriver and try and manipulate the one that's dangling so at least I can turn the knob. No, not working. Then I said, wait a minute, let me try letting gravity be my friend. So I took the radio and I turned it face up, so that the dangling thing would fall backwards, if it had any room to fall at all. I didn't really even know. I did that, and that allowed me to be able to turn the drum wheel to make it rotate at least. And as I rotated it, you do one at a time. I noticed that every one I rotated towards me, because I'm looking at it from the back, one side is off. So I pull it off, replace it, snap it in place. And I do that for every single one. And when I get to the one that was in the front, it was totally off. Put it back in, snap it in place. Now they're all in place. They're all down. My fingerprints are all over them because I was monkeying with them, right? So I got a little Windex, sprayed on a rag, went through there, wiped them off from the back, right? Because the back is off of the radio. And wiped all the glass off so I don't have to look at fingerprints. And then that's it. It's all back together. And it's working like a dream. So, yes, I literally had horseshoes up my ass for about 2.5 hours. And then got it figured out, popped it back together. I was calling the seller every name in the book in my mind, right? I'm like, I'm going to send him the nastiest email, blah, 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 blah. And it turns out it's really not his fault, right? You're shipping the dang thing 6,000 miles, and Grundig designed it so that if strong wind comes along, it'll blow the panel off. And that's the way they all are, even when they're new. But anyway, that's enough of that. Everything is perfect. It works, a treat, like my British friends like to say. So, enough talking. Let's start spinning knobs. We're just going to do a little, this doesn't have sideband, doesn't have a BFO, right? So we're just going to do a little cruising. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 7:30, 7:45 at night here in Central Time in Dallas, Texas. Let's check out the 49 meter range. Now, the only thing I hate about this radio, and when I say hate, I merely mean hate, slider controls. Those are the worst things ever invented, all right? That's the only thing that keeps the Sony 2010 from being a good radio, is the bullshit slider controls.
Every angel in heaven of every rank.
So you got volume, bass, treble. Quickly touch on the controls. FM has its own dial with an AFC on, AFC off. You've got long wave, medium wave, and 2 short wave bands up to 5.2 megahertz, all in here with a 2 bandwidth options, narrow and wide on this switch. And then that bandwidth works on all AM signals, so the bandwidth even works here. But when you select this one, you get a selection of 8 different drums that you can select on the side over here. Tune it here, and then you can select between normal bandwidth, or I should say normal spread, and then your spread. So the bottom one goes, well, if I select it, you can see now I got the light lights up whatever you select. So if you're working here, this is the only light that's on. So I just selected this. The bottom one goes from 5 megahertz to 6.5. If you flip this switch to spread, like that, it goes from 5.91 to 6.25. So the same, that whole 4 inches there is now controlling 310 hertz, okay? It's like insane. You can get such fine tuning out of that. It's insane. And that's the secret to getting good shortwave usage out of these things compared to the Zenith Transoceanic. All right. Those guys were, I don't know if Zenith was too cheap to put it in there, or maybe his engineers couldn't figure out how to do it. I don't know. But tuning a Zenith 7000Y Transoceanic is like having someone stick a knife in your eye while you're trying to tune down this band that's this long, but it covers from like 3 kilohertz to 22 kilohertz or some shit like that. It's like you can't find anything. Rant off. All right, let's go back up here. All right, medium wave, FM, it's all great. All right, I'll do FM just real quick just to show you.
TDs can be on your game, but nobody else is about it. So,
oh, see, it's not coming in good because I have the external antenna, shortwave antenna selected with this. Turn it off.
free Odyssey app.
Now you can tune because you want to use this antenna. This antenna.
Please visit imlistening.com.
The whip.
Finally, football season is stellar. 100% for DirecTV.
Then you've got AFC
Not
or
the Sony
off.
ticket at the time, but I went with DirecTV.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
probably had it for 10 years, maybe.
All right. We're on 4840. Oh, see how it's kind of fuzzy? Let's push this button, the external antenna. And now we're on the Wellbrook mounted outdoors.
I would say brothers and half brothers, of course.
And we got a nice tuning meter up here, very sensitive.
But Jesus, his father was God, created in was married by the Holy Spirit. So why were they not in the cross? Now we know one time they mocked him.
All
They
right,
laughed at him.
wide
They
bandwidth,
ridiculed him. They said, "Look, if you could do all this wonderful miraculous
Narrow.
stuff that we hear you're doing, why don't you go up to Jerusalem at the Passover, where there's millions of people
4 kilohertz, 6 kilohertz. That's what it says in the Grundig book.
your power, Jesus?
Wide.
You have the power that we hear that you got. Why don't you go up there? Show it." They didn't believe. They ridiculed him. They mocked him. Were they ashamed to be identified with
6 kilohertz.
Were they ashamed to be identified with the one hanging there, scourged, bloody, beaten, naked, hanging on a cross, crown of thorns on his head? Were they? Were they ashamed? I said a moment ago that if we look around, we might find some of what was in those people that day in ourselves.
We're on the Wellbrook through a Strasbourg multicoupler, so both radios have the Wellbrook feed full time, all the
We
time.
find out that his mother was there. We find out that his brothers were there, his brethren as well.
Let's go up.
Something happened.
Nice alignment. All right. Narrow. All right, let's check and see if those signals are on at 5010 and 5025.
I am resurrected. My best guess is that the resurrection.
Oops, what happened? I must have bumped something. Either that or my damn radio just took a shit on me. Look at that. Piece of shit, JRC. What the fuck? Garbage. Thankfully, we got a backup.
At least 4 Russian Kinzhal hypersonic missiles were launched last night, early today. All of them struck the Ukrainian city.
There's key bounce. Jesus, you can't tune this damn thing. Chunk. No, nothing at 510. 5025. A little weak. 5050 not there. 85 nice and strong. Alright. Fucking JRC garbage. That's 025. 085. Now, then we top out. So if we want to go higher, we have to go down to the what do you call it? The spread bands. So the bottom one starts at 5. So that first tick mark there, the yellow one, is 5.1, 5.2, 3, 4, 5.5. So 5.1, and then if we want to go to 5.085, you just go down a little. And there it is. And that's narrow bandwidth, wide.
And by hunger. Talking about the Holocaust in 1929 when Stalin basically tried to kill.
And you got to go up to 5.5, 6, 7, 8. 850.
Institutional churches definitely.
9, 5.9. Then this is like 5.935, 5.950. All right, let's try to listen to that in the spread band now. So we come all the way back, go up to the spread band. Now the first one we can get, I don't even know if we'll get 5.90 because it starts at 5.91. Yeah. So we're going to have to go to 5.935.
There's no out. I'll simply state my case and move on.
Then 5.950.
Out of gratitude.
Some sources are saying 4 were destroyed. Other sources are claiming only 2.
6030 would be Radio Marti. 1, 2, 3. So it's slightly off. Sounds weird. Oh, this is 6030. I don't know what that is. That's Toronto, 6070. Very weak here in Dallas until very late at night. Nope, that's Toronto. So that might have been 6050, which I get on occasion. Very, very, very weak. All right, so this spread dial is off a little bit. The spread one is. The bottom one, the full one, was on. So this one might need somebody to come in and do a little tweaking with those little pots and stuff like that. But hey, it's working fine. I ain't complaining. Yeah, so that's Toronto, 6070. Coming in pretty good for Dallas at only 8 o'clock at night. So there's those two signals I'm always messing with, 180 and 185, and notice that they're noticeably to the right of 6.2 on the dial. So yeah, this band spread dial, the dial alignment's not perfect on this, but there's both signals. So we'll come back at them from this direction. Listen. 185. 180. Excuse me. Yeah, this radio's doing very well. Let's see how those are on here. 6.1. $185 probably. That might be 160. 180, 185. There we are. 160, 180, 185. And then it does the same thing. Oh, that's 27, whatever. We're on the normal, the bottom one.
Internal call. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is the New World Government by longshoremen. The strike is expected to close.
Sounds real nice. All right, now we're on the green one, the band spread. We'll start at the top, but we only go to 730. We're going to start dipping down into the 40 meter band, which is all sideband. Yeah, lower sideband. I can't get that on this radio. Alright, let's do the bottom normal one. Alright, WWV. A little bit off on that one.
5, 7, 15. În contexte date și ele exprimă tot așa.
Son gratis, claro que el salario no la alcanza para pagar su
Cidade que qualquer mulher que não necessariamente irmã da primeira esposa é.
Now we'll do the spread.
por sus malas acciones. Tienen al pueblo esperando por soluciones.
Nu mai există. Este Cehia și Slovacia, e altceva. Toate lucrurile acestea s-au petrecut. Ei, noi am rămas. Asta e fascinant, formidabil. Dar vreau să spun că pe acest fundal e de înțeles de ce oamenii au spaime și refuză.
What else you want to play with? Let's do a little shortwave 1. Let's see if we can get that Canadian 330. Canadian, what do they call it? CHU. And then this, I didn't even mention this. This little slide number, watch the strength meter. This is an antenna trimmer for the external antenna only. It only works when you're on external antenna like we are now. See if the needle moves. No. And that's a lot of times that's the case when you're on the Wellbrook, because the Wellbrook, I guess, is a good balanced antenna or whatever. I don't know. But there's time signal. Sometimes there's a signal, a shortwave signal at 3.215. There it is. Let's see if we can get WWV. Things work pretty dang nice. Medium wave on the external antenna. So you can, the medium wave you can get to work on the external antenna too. So mine is a Wellbrook. It works very, very well for the medium wave band.
And oh my gosh, she did very poorly. In fact, Dana Perino's on the 5. She's very honest. She's
back to serve from maybe a back row. Holland takes it out, goes behind him. Beverage chases it down. Rebound has been sent over by 3.
For the President of the United States of America.
Tune in to WLSAM this Friday morning.
Check that out, WLSAM 890 Chicago, and I'm in Dallas. Nice.
Missiles Mohammed Sarour taken out with an Israeli airstrike in the crowded suburb of Beirut, controlled by Hezbollah.
Try the long wave. I think I only messed with this once. $341. $365. Nice. So, this radio is pretty dang nice. Although, yes, it did have me with my heart in my throat for a couple of hours yesterday. Like they all do, right? Old radios, man. Oh, gosh. But, yeah, this thing works awesome. I'm very happy with it. This thing, on the other hand, I'm going to have to look and see what the hell happened to that. I don't know. Maybe it's a loose power cord in the back. I don't know. I'll have to, hopefully it's something simple. We don't need this anymore. But, yeah, that was a surprise. So you're seeing this all in real time. Whatever I learn, you guys learn. None of this stuff is staged. None of it. Oh, man. Yeah, all right, that's it. Satellit 2000, probably 1970 to 72, I think this one was. And then it was replaced by the 2100, which the only difference was they changed the sliders to twist knobs. In other words, they got their senses back and they went to twist knobs. That's it. And then after that, they went to the anti-digis. They were still analog transistor radios, but they had the digital displays. And they weren't any better. The radios were not better than these radios. I think the best radios probably from this era were the 1000 and the 2000. They were slightly better than the... I was reading the Grundig book. There was stuff inside of them to make them a little bit more selective or sensitive or whatever the hell it was. But, and then they changed, over the course of the years and models, they also changed the layout of the band spread dials. Like the early ones that had the band spread, they crammed, all right, so the lower part, so if you're trying to go from 5.9 to 6.2, the lower part of the band was really, really, really spread out. And as you get up to the top of the band, they started cramming more of it together. And maybe that was just the technology that was available to them at the time. I don't know. But as the models got older, so this one is pretty evenly spaced the whole way between 5.9 and 6.2. So yeah, that's a nice feature when you're tuning. So the whole idea of a band spread is that they're spread out. So, but anyway, very happy with this. We'll do a video on the Satellit 1000, and then I got a 6000 too. So I got a 6000 and a 1000, and they're both as nice as this. They look as nice, they work as nice. Yeah, they're sweet. So we'll do videos on those, and then we'll do one on that one that I didn't tell you what it is yet, but you'll see when I do the video. It's pretty cool. I never knew it existed. And they made car radios, I'll tell you that much. But then when I saw that they made this nice multi-band shortwave radio, I'm like, dang, I'm all over that. So anyway, all right, this video is long enough. Thanks for hanging out.